Keys and Kingdoms is one of the settings we're creating for the Aegis game system. We have no structure currently in place for the actual system, but the setting aims to combine your classic D&D style high fantasy with the vibes of a Disney-esque animated fairy tale musical, though generally with adult theming. Unless you run a campaign that's appropriate for children, you can do that, we're not doing that. This series of videos, using the only medium in which I can properly express myself, Microsoft PowerPoint, will show off the 10 Keys and Kingdoms core rules, people, and the manner in which we're interpreting them in our 5th edition homebrew campaign. Using the original 5e rules from 10 years ago, not the new ones, we don't have time to learn to master subtle differences to the system. It's going to be all about the imagination and telling a story in this world we're building. Another thing I deleted from the original list of core species was called the Nemo. It was inspired by the nobodies of Kingdom Hearts, as the whole system largely started out adapting the Kingdom Hearts universe specifically before seeking to become Disney-esque in general. The notion is that they're the dead brought back to life, which usually works out just fine in D&D-based universes, but Nemos are people who came back with fully functioning minds and living bodies, but no soul or emotions. Their soul has not returned to them. They'd be granted great powers and also some disadvantages to make it a worthwhile dilemma on whether you'd choose to remain a Nemo or seek to become a real person again. I'm thinking maybe vulnerability to both radiant and necrotic damage, light and darkness. That sounds like a nice thematic incentive. Clearly, though, this isn't core. Clearly, this is something that happens to a character, like vampirism or lycanthropy. Who, then, was an icon missing from the core race list? Jiminy motherfucking Cricket, that's who. Having set up the Mishkas, I decided there should be an insectile equivalent to them, and we decided to call them Syrsas. Now, I'm not fond of how Jiminy's character design isn't insectile in the slightest. His own character designer back in the day admitted there's nothing that suggests he's a cricket except that he calls himself one, so I looked to his depiction from Once Upon a Time to start setting up the rules for Syrsa design. Here are the sample Syrsas I commissioned. I worked hard on how to convert insect anatomy to a humanoid shape, so they still have a head, thorax, and abdomen, and all appendages attached at the thorax. Skinny little neck, spindly limbs, forearms, face mostly like a real insect. Like I said, I'm not a fan of cartoon insects being so stylized they don't look like insects anymore. Most insects have wings, and on Syrsas the wings attach at the waist. That's one of those occasions on which I made an anatomical decision based on wanting the characters to be able to wear shirts and still enable their wings to function. And they can resemble any real insect. In any other setting, I don't think it makes sense for the sapient animal person to be able to resemble any real species of that animal group, but I'm making that a thing throughout the Keys and Kingdoms universe because it fits the cartoon vibes of the setting and gives the players some freedom of design with their anthro characters. Just part of the magic of the setting, the beast folk designs being a bit more derived from real animals than I'd be comfortable with in other settings. Some freedom. Has to be an insect. There are no spider or centipede Syrsas. You'll have to look elsewhere if you want to play a spidery character. Stats. So they're very like Mishkas. They have a lot in common. Also tiny, to be diminutive in our own rule set. Also averaging 1 foot tall, same as Mishkas. Their walking speed is very slow, but like pixies, they have a flight speed equal to an average medium creature's walking speed. Being tiny, I'll give them the by now established -6 to strength. Will that work? Don't know. I'm not taking this 5th edition conversion thing too seriously. And their bonus shall be to dexterity, same as pixies, but be the standard +2, because as mentioned, playing as a Mishka or Syrsa is a bit of a challenge mode. They have dark vision. In Aegis rules, it'll be infravision. Remember infravision way back in 2nd edition? It's clever. In the Aegis system, some creatures will have regular dark vision, others, if it makes sense for their biology, will have infravision instead. Because I'm crazy! The Claw or Sting. A Syrsas unarmed strikes deal either piercing or slashing damage, your choice upon character creation, instead of bludgeoning. Their fists just aren't any good at bludgeoning, but they all have tiny little claws, and some might have a good piercing bite or sting. They have beast speech, same as Mishkas, can share some basic thoughts and questions with ordinary insects, any insect of the beast creature type. And I think I took this from Thri-Kreen stats. I don't remember if Thri-Kreen have ever been made playable in 5e yet, but it's a thing they've had historically. Torpor. Insects don't sleep, they rest in a torpid state, and therefore in game terms only need half as much daily sleep as characters who actually sleep. In Aegis, there will also be rules about their extra arms and some disadvantages to being cold-blooded, but those felt like they wouldn't work in 5e, so I decided not to implement them here. The Syrsa lifespan, I decided to set as half that of a Mishka, so 1/4 as long as a human's. Once again, creature type is humanoid, and only default language is common. Typical alignment of Syrsa culture is chaotic good. They're generally nice folk with artistic souls. Woo! Thanks for joining me. Stay tuned for more vids on the peoples of Keys and Kingdoms.